Businesswoman visits son's grave and sees Black Cook, crying with little girls, and froze. Jennifer Wilson felt her chest tighten as she walked through the pathways of the city cemetery in Pasadena. It was the same ritual for 8 years, always on Ethan's birthday, always alone. But this time, as she approached her son's grave, something made her stop in her tracks. There, in front of the same white marble headstone she visited religiously, stood a black woman in a white uniform hugging a little girl. Both were crying. Jennifer immediately recognized the woman. It was Dorothy, the cook who had worked in her home for nearly 10 years. The same Dorothy her ex-husband had abruptly fired without explanation just before the accident that took Ethan. Jennifer's heart raced. Why was Dorothy there? Why was she crying at her son's grave? And who was that little girl she held so tenderly? The businesswoman tried to approach, but when Dorothy saw her, panic took over her face. Without a word, she grabbed the girl's hand and ran between the graves as if fleeing a ghost. Jennifer stood frozen, watching the two figures disappear among the cemetery trees. Her legs trembled. Something didn't add up. Why would Dorothy run from her? They'd always had a good relationship when she worked at the mansion. Back in her empty apartment in downtown Los Angeles, Jennifer couldn't think of anything else. That little girl's face was etched in her mind. There was something familiar about her, something that stirred her insides in a way she couldn't explain. For 3 days, she buried herself in work at the logistics company she ran, but nothing could erase that scene from her head. The girl must have been about 8, with brown hair, big eyes, and an expression that reminded her of no. That was impossible. On Thursday, Jennifer called Margaret, who had been the housekeeper for over 15 years before retiring. "Margaret, I need to ask you something about Dorothy." "Ask you?" "Which Dorothy, Mrs. Wilson?" "The cook who used to work here. Do you remember why Michael fired her?" There was a long pause on the other end. "Mrs. Wilson, are you sure you want to know this?" "I am. I need to know." "Your ex-husband never told you back then. He said she was stealing from the pantry, but I never believed that." Margaret sighed. "Mrs. Wilson, I think you should talk to Michael about this. It's not my place to say." "Margaret, please. It's important." "All right, but promise you won't tell him I told you." "I promise." "Dorothy, she used to go to the cemetery a lot, Mrs. Wilson. Every month, on the same day you usually went, but at a different time. I think she didn't want to run into you." Jennifer's blood ran cold. "How do you know this?" "Because I saw her once. I was visiting my mother's grave and saw her there, crying like a child. I asked what she was doing there, and she got nervous, said she knew Ethan's family." Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now, continuing. Knew them how? "I don't know, Mrs. Wilson. She ran off when she saw me. But there was a child with her, a little girl." Jennifer hung up with shaking hands. She needed answers, and she knew exactly where to get them. The next day, she hired a private investigator. Robert Johnson had an office in downtown and was known for being discreet and efficient. Jennifer knew him from her days in the company's legal department. "I need you to find a woman named Dorothy. Last name's probably Williams or Wilson. She worked at my house until 8 years ago. Any additional information? Black woman around 50 years old. A cook. Has a girl about 8 years old." Robert wrote everything down. "What's the purpose of the search?" "I need to talk to her. It's personal." In less than a week, Robert called with the information. "I found your Dorothy. Full name Dorothy Mae Williams. Currently works as a lunch lady at Lincoln Elementary School in the Glendale neighborhood of Pasadena. Lives in a small apartment in Pinecrest with a girl named Olivia." "Olivia?" "Yes. The child isn't registered as her daughter. From the documents I got, she's some kind of informal guardian." "Guardian of whom?" "Couldn't get that information. But there's something odd. The girl doesn't have an official birth certificate." Jennifer felt the world spin. "What do you mean?" "It's like she doesn't exist on paper. Very strange for a child that age." On Saturday morning, Jennifer dressed simply and drove to the school where Dorothy worked. She knew many schools opened on weekends for extra activities. She was right. There were children playing in the yard and staff working. Jennifer stood outside the gate watching. That's when she saw her. The girl was sitting at a small table in the yard drawing. Dorothy was nearby, preparing something in the school kitchen that faced the yard. Jennifer's heart nearly stopped when she saw the girl's face up close. It was like looking at Ethan at the same age, the same expressive eyes, the same face shape, even the way she stuck her tongue between her teeth when concentrating. "Can I help you?" Jennifer turned. A blonde woman in her 40s approached. "I was looking for enrollment information for my niece. I'm Principal Amanda. Come in, let's talk." Jennifer followed the principal, but couldn't take her eyes off the girl. "She's an adorable child," Amanda commented, noticing Jennifer's gaze. "Olivia is one of the brightest kids I've ever seen." "Olivia?" "Yes, Dorothy's daughter. Well, not biologically, but they're inseparable." "What do you mean, not biologically?" "Dorothy's raised her since she was a baby. It's a beautiful story, really. The girl was orphaned very young, and Dorothy decided to take care of her. A true mother at heart." "Orphaned from whom?" Amanda realized she might have said too much. "Sorry, I shouldn't be discussing this. It's personal information." Jennifer forced a smile. "Of course, forgive my curiosity. It's just that the girl reminds me of someone in my family." At that moment, Olivia looked in their direction and waved with a shy smile. Jennifer had to hold back tears. "Excuse me," she said to the principal and quickly left. In the car, Jennifer cried like she hadn't in years. That girl had something of Ethan in her. More than something. It was like he was there, alive, playing in the schoolyard. She needed more answers. On Monday, she called her ex-husband. Michael Wilson was a partner at a construction company and had always been a closed-off man, especially after they separated. "Michael, I need to talk to you." "About what, Jennifer?" "I thought we'd settled everything." "It's about Dorothy." A long silence. "What Dorothy?" "Our former cook." "Why did you fire her?" "I already explained back then. She was stealing." "I don't believe that. I want the truth." "Jennifer, that was 8 years ago. Why are you digging this up now?" "Because I saw her at the city cemetery, at Ethan's grave, with a girl." Another silence. Longer. "Michael, I'll come to your house tonight, at 9. Michael arrived punctually. He was visibly nervous, fidgeting with his hands and avoiding direct eye contact with Jennifer. "Before you say anything," he began, "I want you to understand that I did what I thought was best at the time." "Best for whom?" "For our family, for you." "Just say it, Michael." He took a deep breath. "Dorothy, she was pregnant when she worked at our house." Jennifer felt as if she'd been punched in the stomach. "Pregnant?" "Yes, and I found out some things about her that made me suspect she could cause trouble for our family." "What kind of trouble?" "She had access to a lot of our personal information. She knew our routine, our medical appointments, our doctors." "So what?" "I thought she might be planning something, maybe a scam, pretending the child was mine or something like that." Jennifer looked at her ex-husband as if she didn't recognize him. "Are you serious?" "I was protecting our family, Jennifer." "Protecting us from what?" "Dorothy was an honest, hard-working woman. She never gave us any reason to distrust her." "You don't understand. After we lost Ethan, I couldn't risk anything else going wrong in our lives." "You fired Dorothy before Ethan's accident, Michael." He turned red. "I got the dates mixed up." "No. You're lying. What aren't you telling me?" Michael stood up and began pacing. "Jennifer, some things are better left in the past." "What things?" "I can't talk about this." "Yes, you can and you will." He stopped and faced her. "Fine, but you won't like it." "Tell me." "I fired Dorothy because I found out she knew about Ethan." "What do you mean, knew about Ethan?" "She knew things only someone present at the birth could have known." Jennifer felt the world spinning. "What birth? She wasn't even working at our house when Ethan was born." "Yes, she was, Jennifer. She started working for us a week after you were discharged from the hospital." "So what?" "She knew details about the delivery that no one should have known. She knew about the complications. She knew about About what? Michael closed his eyes. About the fact that you had twins. The silence that followed was deafening. Jennifer's legs gave out, and she gripped the table for support. I had what? Twins, Jennifer. A boy and a girl. That's a lie. It's not a lie. Where is the girl then? I don't know. The doctor said she didn't survive. What doctor? Dr. Harrison, our obstetrician. Jennifer ran to the bathroom and threw up. When she came back, Michael was sitting on the couch with his head in his hands. Why did you never tell me this? Because the doctor said it was for the best, that you were too fragile after the birth, and that knowing about losing the girl would make it worse. And you agreed. I was desperate, Jennifer. You were already on the verge of deep depression just from the birth complications. Imagine if you'd known you'd lost a daughter too. But I had the right to know? Maybe. But at the time it seemed like the right decision. And Dorothy, how did she know? I don't know. But some things she said made me realize she knew more than she should have. That's why I fired her. Jennifer sat down heavily. Do you think the girl with her... I don't know, Jennifer. I don't even want to think about it. Why? Because if it's true, it means our daughter has been alive for 8 years, and I helped keep you two apart. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now continuing, Jennifer didn't sleep all night. The next morning she called her private doctor and requested a complete copy of all her delivery records. Dr. James Miller had been her gynecologist for over 15 years and was someone she trusted completely. Jennifer, may I ask why you want these documents now? It's complicated, doctor. Personal matters. All right. But you know some of these records are from Dr. Harrison, right? He was the one who delivered your baby. I know. That's exactly why I need them. Dr. Harrison retired a few years ago. He lives at a retirement home in Lake Tahoe. Do you have his contact information? I do, but may I ask why? I need to clarify some things about my delivery. Dr. Miller hesitated. Jennifer, is there something that happened that you don't know about? That's what I'm trying to find out. 2 hours later, Jennifer had a folder of documents in her hands. She sat at the dining table in her apartment and began reading each paper. Most were routine tests, ultrasounds, and consultation reports. But there was something odd. At several points in the records, there were references to twins and monitoring of a multiple pregnancy. Jennifer felt her heart race. There were also notes about preparation for twin delivery and need for neonatal ICU for both babies. Both babies. Her hands trembled as she searched for the delivery report itself. When she found it, she could hardly believe what she read. Twin delivery performed without complications. Birth of the first baby, male, at 2:32 p.m. Birth of the second baby, female, at 2:47 p.m. Both babies in good initial condition. Further down, at 3:30 p.m., female baby exhibited respiratory distress, transferred to neonatal ICU. And then, 4:15 p.m., discussion with family about the baby's condition. Special care protocol decided for the female baby. Jennifer flipped through all the papers looking for more information about this special care protocol, but found nothing. She picked up the phone and called Lake Tahoe. Peaceful Haven Retirement Home. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'd like to speak with Dr. William Harrison. He's receiving visitors today. May I ask who's calling? This is Jennifer Wilson. I was his patient years ago. One moment, after a few minutes. Mrs. Wilson, this is Dr. Harrison. The voice was weaker, but she recognized it immediately. Dr. Harrison, I need to talk to you about my delivery. There was a long pause. Your delivery was many years ago, Jennifer. I know, but I found some things in the records that confused me. What kind of things? About the twins. The silence was so long, Jennifer thought the call had dropped. Dr. Harrison? I'm here. Can I come talk to you in person? Jennifer, some things are better left in the past. Doctor, please, I need to know the truth. The truth about what? About what happened to my daughter. More silence. Doctor, come tomorrow at 2 in the afternoon. but come alone. Jennifer barely slept that night. The next morning, she drove to Lake Tahoe with her heart pounding. Peaceful Haven Retirement Home was a quiet place, surrounded by trees and well-kept gardens. Dr. Harrison waited for her in a visiting room, sitting in a brown leather armchair. In his mid-70s, he still carried the elegant posture Jennifer remembered. "Jennifer, you haven't changed a bit." "Thank you, doctor. You look well too." He gestured to a chair across from him. "So, you found out about the twins." "I found some things in the records, but I want to know the whole truth." Dr. Harrison took a deep breath. "Jennifer, what I'm about to tell you may be very painful. Not more painful than not knowing." "All right, you did have twins, a boy and a girl. Ethan and a girl you never got to name. What happened to her?" "She was born healthy, but after a few hours she developed breathing problems. She needed special care." "And then?" "Your husband was desperate. You had complications during delivery, and he thought you wouldn't be able to handle knowing one of the babies was in trouble. So, he asked me not to tell you about the girl. He said you should only know if she fully recovered." "And did she recover?" Dr. Harrison looked away. "Yes and no." "What do you mean?" "She recovered physically. But back then, 8 years ago, her husband was in serious financial trouble. I found out later that his company was almost bankrupt. And what does that have to do with my daughter? He wouldn't have been able to pay for the specialized treatment she would need over the next few months, and he didn't want you to know about the family's financial situation." Jennifer felt anger rising inside her. "What did he do?" He signed a release for the baby to be put up for adoption." "He did what?" "Jennifer, you have to understand that at the time." "Understand what?" "That my husband gave my daughter up for adoption without telling me?" It was a moment of desperation. He thought he was doing what was best for everyone. "And you agreed with that?" "I was just the doctor, Jennifer. I couldn't make decisions for the family." "Do you know where she went?" Dr. Harrison hesitated. "I do." "Where?" "A nurse at the hospital offered to take care of her temporarily until an adoptive family could be found." "What nurse?" "Her name was Dorothy. Dorothy Williams." Jennifer felt as if she'd been electrocuted. The Dorothy who worked in my house." "Yes, she worked at the hospital back then. She was the one who cared for you during the birth." "My God, Jennifer, there's more." "More what?" "Dorothy never actually put the baby up for official adoption. She grew attached to the child and decided to raise her as her own." "Is that why she came to work in our house?" "Yes. She wanted to be near you, to know the birth mother of the child she was raising. And she also wanted the girl to know her brother." "Is that why she was fired?" "Your husband started to suspect. Dorothy knew details about the birth that only someone who was there would know. And the girl was growing up, looking more and more like Ethan." Jennifer stood up from the chair and began pacing the room. "Doctor, the girl, does she know she's adopted?" "I don't know, Jennifer. We lost touch after she left the hospital. But are you sure it's the same person?" "I am. In fact, I saw her a few years later at a market in Pasadena. She was with a little girl. When she saw me, she turned red and hurried away." "Why didn't she come to me? Why didn't she tell me the truth?" "I think she was afraid. Afraid you'd try to take the child from her. Afraid you wouldn't believe her. Afraid of your husband. Afraid of Michael. He made it very clear back then that if anyone tried to reverse the adoption decision, he would take legal action." "What kind of action?" "I don't know exactly." But Dorothy was terrified. Jennifer went home with her mind racing. Now she knew the truth. Olivia was her daughter. Her daughter, who had been given to a stranger without her knowledge or consent. She had a living daughter. A daughter who was being raised by the woman she had hired to work in her home, just so she could be close to her. A daughter who visited her brother's grave without knowing he was her brother. Jennifer cried for hours. It was a mix of happiness, anger, guilt, and despair. How had she not noticed? How had she spent 2 years around Dorothy and little Olivia without realizing anything? Truthfully, she vaguely remembered the girl. Dorothy sometimes brought her to work when she had no one to leave her with. A quiet child who played in the garden while Dorothy worked in the kitchen. Jennifer remembered one time when Ethan, then about 4, had played with the girl. He was enchanted by her and asked if she could come over more often. Jennifer thought it was sweet, but didn't think much of it. Now it all made sense. Ethan had played with his own twin sister, and neither of them had known. The next day, Jennifer went back to the school where Dorothy worked. This time, she didn't hide. She walked through the front gate and asked to speak to Dorothy. "She's in the kitchen preparing the snacks," said Principal Amanda. "May I ask why?" "It's personal. Are you related to Olivia?" "I am." It wasn't a lie. Amanda walked her to the kitchen. Dorothy had her back turned, stirring a large pot on the stove. When she turned and saw Jennifer, her face went white as paper. "Mrs. Wilson." "Dorothy, I need to talk to you." The cook glanced around nervously. I have to work. It's about Olivia." Dorothy nearly dropped the spoon she was holding. "Mrs. Amanda, could you give us a moment?" "Of course. Take your time." When they were alone, Dorothy leaned against the sink as if she needed support. "You found out, didn't you?" "I did." "How?" "I spoke to Dr. Harrison." Dorothy closed her eyes, and 2 tears rolled down her face. "I always knew this day would come." "Dorothy, why didn't you ever tell me?" "Because I was afraid." "Afraid of what?" "Afraid you'd take her from me. Afraid you wouldn't believe me. Afraid of your ex-husband." "Did he threaten you?" "He made it very clear that if I tried to go back on our agreement, he'd make sure I lost Olivia and would sue me for kidnapping." Jennifer felt her anger rise again. "And you believed him?" "I was a poor woman with no money for a lawyer. He was rich, powerful. Of course I believed him." "Dorothy, she's my daughter." "I know. But you love her as if she were yours." "I love her more than my own life, Mrs. Wilson." The 2 women stared at each other in silence. "Where is she now?" Jennifer asked. "At school, studying." "Does she know anything about this?" "She knows she's adopted, but she doesn't know who her biological parents are." "What did you tell her?" "That her parents died in an accident when she was a baby, and that I decided to take care of her." "Dorothy." "I know I lied, Mrs. Wilson, but I didn't know how to explain such a complicated situation to a little girl." "Does she ask about her parents?" "She does. Lately, she's been asking more. I think she's growing up and getting curious." "What's she like? As a person, I mean." Dorothy smiled for the first time since Jennifer arrived. "She's amazing, Mrs. Wilson. Smart, loving, determined. She has a thirst for learning that impresses me. Loves to read, loves to draw, polite, respectful." "Does she look like Ethan?" "Very much. Even the way she makes certain faces is the same." "Dorothy, you know I'll want to meet her, right?" Dorothy's smile faded. "I know. And you know this doesn't mean I'll take her from you, right?" "You have every right, Mrs. Wilson. You're her birth mother." "I have rights, yes. But so do you. You raised her, loved her, took care of her all these 8 years. That counts for a lot. So what do you want?" "I want to meet my daughter, and I want to figure out how we can handle this in the best way for her." "What if she doesn't want to meet you?" "Then I'll respect that. For now." Dorothy seemed a little relieved. You won't try to take her from me legally?" "No, Dorothy, I won't." "Even though you have every right?" "Because doing that would only hurt Olivia. And she's already suffered enough because of adults' mistakes." Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now, continuing, Dorothy began to cry with relief. "Mrs. Wilson, you don't know how much this means to me. But I want to propose something." "What?" "That you tell her the truth. Gradually, of course, but she has a right to know. What if she gets angry with me for lying? You'll explain that you lied to protect her, and that now she's old enough to understand the truth. When do you want to meet her?" "Whenever you think she's ready." "Mrs. Wilson, there's something I need to tell you." "What?" "Olivia, she has some health issues." Jennifer's heart froze. "What kind of issues?" "Respiratory problems. because of what happened during her birth. It's not serious, but she needs regular medical checkups. Is she being monitored? Yes, through the county health program, but the wait list to see specialists is very long. Sometimes it takes months. Dorothy, this can be fixed. I have excellent health insurance and I can add her to it. You do that? Of course, she's my daughter. But I can't accept it would feel like charity. It's not charity, Dorothy. It's a mother taking care of her daughter. But I've raised her all these years. She's my responsibility. She's our responsibility now. Dorothy looked at Jennifer with an expression of gratitude mixed with fear. Mrs. Wilson, there's something else. Go ahead. Olivia, she's already asked about her brother. What do you mean? She dreams about a boy, always the same boy. In her dreams they play together. She's told me many times. Jennifer felt a shiver. How does she describe this boy? Brown hair, big eyes, about her age. She says in the dream they're very close. Oh my God. Do you think it could be? I think twins have a special connection, even if they've never met. Mrs. Wilson, Olivia has been going to the city cemetery with me for 2 years. I know. I've seen you there. I took her because I thought somehow she should know her brother, even if he wasn't here anymore. Did you tell her Ethan was her brother? No. I said he was a special boy who would have been her friend if he'd lived. And her? She always stands in front of the grave for a long time, like she's talking to him. Dorothy, I think it's time to tell her everything. You're right. But I'm scared. Scared of what? That she'll be confused, that she won't understand, that she'll want to go live with you and leave me. Dorothy, look at me. Dorothy raised her eyes. A child can love 2 mothers. Love doesn't shrink when it's shared. It grows. Do you really believe that? I do. And I'll prove it to you. They agreed Dorothy would talk to Olivia over the weekend and, depending on the girl's reaction, would arrange a meeting with Jennifer the following week. Jennifer spent the next days more anxious than she'd ever been. She kept imagining what it would be like to meet her daughter, how their first eye contact would feel, what she would say, how Olivia would react. On Wednesday, Dorothy called. Mrs. Wilson? How did it go? It was hard. But she understood. How did she react? First, she was quiet for a long time. Then she started asking lots of questions. What kind of questions? Why I hadn't told her sooner, why her birth parents didn't keep her, if they didn't love her. And what did you say? The truth, that her parents didn't know she existed, that the adults made mistakes, that she's always been loved. And about me? She asked if she could meet you. Jennifer's heart nearly leapt out of her chest. And you said, I said yes if she wanted to. And she does, but with one condition. What? That it's somewhere she feels safe, and that I'm there too. Of course. Where does she want to meet? At the cemetery, in front of Ethan's grave. Jennifer felt her eyes fill with tears. Why there? She said she wants to meet her mother and brother in the same place. That way she'll feel complete. On Saturday morning, Jennifer arrived at the cemetery an hour early. She wanted to be calm when they arrived. She stood in front of Ethan's grave talking to him. Son, today you'll meet your sister. Her name's Olivia, and she's as beautiful as you were. She dreams about you, you know. I think you two know each other in some way we can't understand. At exactly 10 o'clock, she saw Dorothy and Olivia walking down the tree-lined path. Olivia was wearing a light blue dress and holding Dorothy's hand tightly. When they got close, Olivia looked straight at Jennifer. Are you my mother? I am, sweetheart. You're pretty. Thank you. So are you. Olivia stepped closer to the grave. Is this my brother? Yes. I dream about him. Dorothy told me. In my dreams, he teaches me how to fly a kite. Jennifer smiled through tears. Ethan loved flying kites. Do you have a picture of him? Jennifer took a photo from her wallet. Olivia stared at it for a long time. He looks like me. You're twins. Dorothy explained what that means. Olivia placed the photo on the grave. There, Ethan. Now you know our mother. Then she turned to Jennifer. Do you want to be my mother too, or just meet me? I want to be your mother if you'll let me. What about Dorothy? Dorothy will still be your mother too. Two mothers. Two mothers. Olivia thought for a moment. That's good. That way I get more love. The three of them hugged there, in front of Ethan's grave. In the days that followed, Jennifer began visiting Olivia regularly. First once a week, then twice, then almost every day. Olivia was truly an exceptional child. Bright, affectionate, full of questions about everything. She wanted to know about Ethan, what it was like when Jennifer was pregnant, what happened at the hospital. Jennifer answered every question honestly, adjusting her words for the girl's age. Mother Jennifer, Olivia started calling her that naturally. Why didn't the daddy who made me want to meet me? It was the question Jennifer feared most. Because he was scared, sweetheart. Scared of what? Scared he couldn't take good care of you and Ethan at the same time. But didn't he know Dorothy would take good care of me? He didn't know Dorothy existed back then. And now? Does he want to meet me? Jennifer hesitated. Michael had refused any contact with Olivia when she confronted him about the whole situation. Not right now, sweetheart, but maybe one day he'll change his mind. That's okay. I have both of you. And I have Ethan in my heart. Olivia adjusted to her new reality with an ease that amazed both Jennifer and Dorothy. It was as if she'd always known she had a bigger family and was just waiting for the right time to meet everyone. Jennifer paid for Olivia to have private medical care and learned her breathing problems could be fixed with a minor surgical procedure. It's simple, the pulmonologist explained. She was born with a small defect in her airways that can be easily corrected. Any risks? Minimal. She'll be as good as new. The surgery was scheduled for the following week. Jennifer and Dorothy took turns at the hospital during the 3-day stay. It was during those days they truly got to know each other as people, not as employer and employee. Dorothy, can I ask you something personal? Of course, Mrs. Wilson. Why didn't you ever have children of your own? Dorothy was quiet for a moment. I did. Twice. What? I had 2 babies, but both were born too early and didn't survive. My God, Dorothy, I didn't know. That's why when I saw Olivia at the hospital alone, needing special care, it felt like God was giving me another chance. And you never regretted it. Never. Not for a second. Even when it was hard. Even when you were alone. Especially then. Because that's when I remembered she'd been alone too before she met me. Jennifer felt deep admiration for Dorothy. You're an incredible woman. No, Mrs. Wilson. I'm just a mother. Olivia's surgery was a success. Within 2 weeks, she was breathing normally and had more energy than ever. Mom, Jennifer, now I can run without getting tired. Yes, you can, sweetheart. And can I swim? Yes. And can I play hide and seek without running out of breath? You can do everything. Olivia jumped for joy. Dorothy, now I can help you in the school kitchen without getting tired. Of course you can, my dear. A month after the surgery, Jennifer made a proposal she'd been thinking about for weeks. Dorothy, I want to suggest something to you. What? I want you to come work for me again. Mrs. Wilson, not as a maid, as a partner. What do you mean? I'm thinking of opening a restaurant. Home-style food, a family atmosphere. You'd be the chef and partner. But I don't have money to be a partner in anything. You have something more valuable than money. You have talent, experience, and love for cooking. Mrs. Wilson, this is crazy. Why? Because you're doing this out of pity for me. It's not pity, Dorothy. It's admiration. And it's a way to make sure Olivia always has both her mothers close by. What do you mean? The restaurant would be on the ground floor of my building. There's a 2-bedroom apartment upstairs that was empty. You could live there. You've already thought of everything, haven't you? I have. But I'll only do it if you want to. Dorothy looked out the window of Jennifer's apartment, where Olivia was playing in the building's courtyard. And Olivia, what does she think about this? Why don't you ask her? Dorothy called Olivia. Sweetheart, come here. Olivia ran upstairs. What is it, Mom Dorothy? Mom Jennifer has a proposal. Do you want to hear it? Yes. Jennifer explained the idea of the restaurant and the move. Olivia listened carefully. So, what do you think? Asked Dorothy. I think it's the best idea in the world. Why? Because then I'll have both my mums close by, and I can help at the restaurant, and I can play in this courtyard every day. Are you sure? Yes. When are we moving? Dorothy looked at Jennifer and smiled. I think we've just been convinced by an 8-year-old. I think so too. The restaurant Olivia's House opened 3 months later. The name was Olivia's idea, who wanted to honor the union of the two families. The place was a hit from day one. Dorothy cooked like a top-tier chef, and Jennifer handled the business side. Olivia helped greet customers and quickly became the place's mascot. Good morning. Welcome to Olivia's house, she'd say to every customer who walked in. Today we have the best shepherd's pie in the world because Mom Dorothy made it with lots of love. Customers were charmed by the bright, affectionate child. A year after the opening, on a Saturday afternoon, Olivia was playing in the courtyard when a man approached the gate. Jennifer was organizing papers in the restaurant when Dorothy came running in. Mrs. Wilson, there's a man outside who wants to talk to you. Who is it? Your ex-husband. Jennifer's stomach tightened. Michael hadn't shown up in over a year. What does he want? I don't know. But he's looking at Olivia. Jennifer stepped outside and saw Michael standing outside the gate watching Olivia play. What are you doing here, Michael? I came to see you. About what? About her. He pointed at Olivia. What about her? Jennifer, I haven't slept properly a single night since I found out she exists. And? And that you found her. Now you care? I've always cared. That's a lie, Michael. It's not a lie. Why do you think I fired Dorothy? Because you were afraid she'd tell the truth? No, because I was afraid I'd get attached to the girl too. Jennifer stared at her ex-husband, confused. What do you mean? Jennifer, do you think it was easy for me to give up our daughter? Do you think it didn't tear me apart inside? Then why did you do it? Because I was desperate. The company was going under. You had postpartum depression. Ethan needed attention. I thought I wouldn't be able to take care of 2 children, especially since one of them needed special care. And now? Now I watch her playing there and recognize every gesture. I recognize the smile, the way she runs, even the way she throws a tantrum when she wants something. Michael, she's just like Ethan, Jennifer. It's like he's alive again. She's not Ethan, she's Olivia. I know, but what? Do you think she'd be willing to meet me? Jennifer looked at Olivia, who had stopped playing and was watching the conversation. I don't know, Michael. You'd have to ask her. And you? Would you let her? If she wants to, I won't stop her. Even after everything that happened. Olivia isn't to blame for the mistakes we adults made. If she wants a relationship with her father, I'll support her. Michael was silent for a moment. Jennifer? What? Can you forgive me? Michael, it's not about forgiveness. It's about moving forward the best way we can. Can I talk to her? Jennifer called Olivia, who came running over. Olivia, this is Michael. He's your biological father. Olivia looked at Michael curiously. Are you the daddy who got scared? Michael knelt to be at her eye level. Yes, sweetheart, and I'm so sorry. Why were you scared? Because I didn't know how to take good care of you and your brother at the same time. But you didn't have to be scared. There was Grandma Dorothy and Mommy Jennifer to help. That's true, I didn't think of that at the time. And now? Are you still scared? I'm scared you won't like me. Olivia thought for a moment. Do you like flying kites? I do. And do you like shepherd's pie? Love it. And do you want to learn how to draw pretty pictures? I do. Then I think we're going to be friends. Michael started to cry. Do you forgive me for leaving you? I don't know what forgiveness is. But Grandma Dorothy taught me that everyone makes mistakes sometimes, and what matters is trying to do better afterward. Your Grandma Dorothy is very wise. She is. Do you want to meet her? If she wants to meet me. Olivia took Michael's hand. Come on, I'll introduce you to everyone. And that's how Olivia introduced her father to Dorothy, to the restaurant staff, and to some customers who were there. This is my daddy, Michael, she said proudly. He was lost, but now he's found. Michael's integration into Olivia's life was gradual. He started visiting once a week, then twice, and soon became a constant presence at the restaurant. He discovered he had a real talent for the financial side of the business and offered to help with management. I don't want to be a partner, he made clear. I just want to help, as a way to make up for lost time. You don't have to make up for anything, said Jennifer. Just be here from now on. And can I? You can. 2 years later, on a Sunday afternoon, Olivia was in the garden playing with a new kite Michael had brought her. Mommy Jennifer, Grandma Dorothy, Daddy Michael, come see. The three adults came out of the restaurant and saw Olivia holding the string of a red kite soaring high in the sky. I'm flying the kite for Ethan, she shouted happily, so he can see I learned. Jennifer, Dorothy, and Michael looked at each other and smiled. I think he can see it, said Jennifer. I'm sure he can, agreed Dorothy. And he's proud, added Michael. Olivia ran to them. Now I have a complete family again, she said. I have 2 moms, a dad, and a brother who lives in heaven but watches over me. That's right, said Jennifer, hugging her daughter. And you know what else? What, sweetheart? Asked Dorothy. Now I know love never ends. It just gets bigger when you share it. The 3 adults exchanged emotional glances. Who taught you that? Asked Michael. The 3 of you, Olivia answered simply, each in your own way. That night, after Olivia went to sleep, Jennifer, Dorothy, and Michael stayed talking in the restaurant garden. You know this girl is special, right? Said Michael. We do, replied Dorothy. She's taught us more about love and forgiveness than any adult, added Jennifer. It's true, agreed Michael. And you know what else? What? Asked the 2 women. I think Ethan was right when he chose her to be his twin sister. Why? Asked Dorothy. Because he knew she'd be strong enough to bring our family back together. Even after everything that happened? Asked Jennifer. Especially after everything that happened, answered Michael, because she showed us that love is stronger than any mistake. The next morning, Olivia woke up early and went to the garden. She found a wildflower that had bloomed overnight in a little corner she especially cared for. Mom Dorothy, Mom Jennifer, Dad Michael, come see. The 3 came running. What is it, sweetheart? Look, a new flower grew in Ethan's garden. Ethan's garden? Asked Michael. That's what I call that little spot over there. Because I plant flowers there for him. And why is this flower special? Asked Jennifer. Because it grew all alone, but look around. The 3 looked and saw that smaller flowers had sprouted around the bigger one. Now it has a family of flowers, said Olivia, just like me. It's true, Dorothy smiled. And do you know what that means? What? Asked the 3 together. That Ethan is happy with our new family. He sent this flower to show he approves. Jennifer picked Olivia up. You really think he approves? I'm sure, because I dreamed about him last night and he was smiling. And what did he say in the dream? Asked Michael. He said he was proud to have such a smart sister who could put all the broken pieces of the family back together. All the pieces? Asked Dorothy. Yes. The piece of the sad mom, the piece of the protective mom, the piece of the regretful dad, and the piece of the lost daughter. And now? Asked Jennifer. Now we're a whole family again. The end of the story. So, what did you think of this family reunion story? Do you think Olivia was wise to forgive her father? Tell us in the comments where you're watching from, and if you've ever experienced something similar in your own family. Leave your like and subscribe to the channel for more heartwarming stories like this one.